Hello and welcome to First Mover. We have a lot of really great guests and information today. So we are going to hop right in with a quick update. But first, I want Sam to let us know where he's living right now.
I am currently living in Ojai, California, specifically in the Miramonte neighborhood.
All right. And what do you love about it there?
It's beautiful. It's quiet.
Got it.
It's close to Los Angeles, but it's an entirely different energy up here.
So the lifestyle's amazing, still convenient. Got it. Okay.
That's right.
So Ken, can you give me the power to share my screen, please?
Yes, sir. You've been bestowed the power, and you got it.
Terrific. Okay, so here we go. I think this is the right one. Yes. Okay, so obviously you need to hit this button. There we go. All right, so we know that the economy has dropped more extremely than ever in recent history. Here's something that's interesting. A lot of people are talking about forbearances. So I wanted you to see on a map where the forbearances are in the country. So if you look at, it looks like there's a lot in Texas, Nevada, over on the East Coast. So this is where the forbearances are, and this is going to have the biggest negative effect long-term on the market. Just in case any of you don't know, a forbearance is where they delay your payment, so you don't have to pay for, let's say, 6 months or a year, and then at the end you owe all of those months back. So you could see it's not as high in California as they had predicted. They had predicted about 15%, and it's not actually that high in any state. So that's pretty interesting. Here you can see where the delinquency is. People are starting to not pay more outside of cities than inside of cities, even though that's where people are flocking to. So, and with forbearances, 6% have paid off the mortgage, 30% are performing, meaning they're making the payments they're supposed to, and only 5% are not paying. Sam, you look like you might have a question.
I want to know more about forbearance. It's a new term to me.
Okay, so what a forbearance is during the pandemic, when a crisis happens, the banks, you either could defer or do forbearance for your mortgage. So if you couldn't pay your mortgage, you got an option to either defer, which is where they either tax what you're not, like those 3 or 6 months you don't pay on the end of your mortgage, or they spread it out for the next whatever term of your mortgage is. So instead of $500 a month, it's $700 for the next 10 years or whatever, right? Forbearance, which is the more dangerous option, is where you don't pay anything for that amount of time. And then there's a huge balloon payment that suddenly you owe 6 months or a year of your mortgage.
I see, got it, okay.
Right? And the idea is that because there was an emergency, something happened that prevented you from paying, but you'd be able to pay it back because you're going to have an increase in your income. Make sense?
Understood. Okay, great.
Got it. So this is the thing that a lot of people initially were saying, this is going to tank the market. This is going to cause the whole market to fail. So you can see, just as a quick snapshot, in the Inland Empire and San Joaquin Valley is where the largest delinquencies are. And this is specifically for forbearance. So this is where you're probably going to see more later on if there's an increase in foreclosures or short sales. These are the areas to focus on. This is a map of the whole United States that shows where people have gained the most equity and they've gained the least equity. This is important because as a lot of people are not going to be able to, or as a lot of people have lost their jobs and not going to be able to continue to pay their mortgage, when people sell, how much equity is very important, because if they haven't paid for a short amount of time, they have equity and can sell for an increase and for a profit. If they're right about at the point where they owe as much as the house is worth, they're going to be losing money. They're going to be having short sales, and that's where the foreclosures come in. So this is a really important map. And it's good that I don't think any of us live in Alaska right now, because that one did
I
not
don't understand the map, Nathaniel, because if you look at California with 12,000 and Illinois with 2K, why wouldn't California be red?
Because 2K, okay, so they made this map in funny way. The darker red is actually the bottom 3 states. The bright red are the top 10 states.
Got it. Okay.
Make sense?
Hey, I'm from Illinois. I get it. It's the bottom.
It's the bottom of the
I'll
bottom.
accept
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. So that's where you have gained the least amount of equity. So I don't know if James is here. I don't think he's popped in this week, but this is where the forecast of the biggest changes are going to be. So they expect Las Vegas, Henderson to go down based on employment, income growth, and for sale inventory, which means they think there's projected to be less jobs and more homes available in Henderson, Las Vegas than most other places in the country. So they're expecting a rebound actually in San Francisco, the Redwood area, of 7.8%. So, and then if you look at, like Denver, it's down a little bit, but you're still probably good because that's still one of the hottest markets in the country. Aurora is outside of Denver, but this is actually Lakewood. So
Which, by the way,
you're going to have a little bit of a drop.
Let everyone know next week we have someone on from Denver talking about the market in Denver.
Yeah, we have one of the top experts in Denver. She is awesome, has a huge team, knows everything there is to know about Denver real estate. So save up your questions for Colorado for next week. Obviously, so the things that you look at for forecasting real estate are how much the economy is contracted, right? So that's this. And then you could see employment, that's another big one. So we had 61 million unemployed in 27 weeks versus a 37 million in the last 2 years. But you're seeing it start to come back. So while there is some sort of, there could be what they're projecting is a single digit drop if there is a drop next year. And it'll be probably in Q2 because that's when a lot of the forbearance and the foreclosures are going to be popping in. Consumer confidence is back up, and that's very important. And consumer spending's back up, which is also very important. Now, why is that important? Because our economy is largely based on consumption. So the fact that people are spending money is a sign that our economy is doing a little better and our people are willing to spend money on houses. These are some of the winners during the pandemic. If you notice, these are all home-based businesses, right? Which basically home is more important than ever. And these are all at home. People are buying at home, so that's why most of these stores are closing. Now, multifamily, what is going on with multifamily? If you look at somewhere like Santa Monica, that's 70% of that city is rental, right? They're actually, there and Venice, it's interesting because they tend to be smaller buildings, so those aren't hit as hard, while most people in most locations, especially downtown and the more urban you get, the more focused this is. Nobody wants to live in these big multifamily buildings right now. So what you're seeing for the first time is actually a decrease in rents on these. And for condo sales, they're down around 41% in Los Angeles alone. Condo sales. So not homes, homes are up, but condo sales are way down. And I mean, a lot of people can't give them away. So there is a buying opportunity within that. Now, is the buying opportunity in downtown LA or is it places like Sherman Oaks? That's a different conversation. Probably better Sherman Oaks, as downtown LA was just still recovering from about 30 years ago.
Sherman Oaks seems to be a pretty explosive area right now, right?
What's that?
Downtown LA.
What's up?
Sherman Oaks seems to be much more explosive than DTLA.
Oh yeah, well, Sherman Oaks is always going to be more in demand than downtown LA. If you look at one of the things that relates to values is location, and then, location. So that one is sandwiched, right, in between Studio City, Beverly Hills, Encino, very desirable areas, and it's right where the 405 and the 101 intersect, which while we are all now teleporting through Zoom, there are still, believe it or not, some people who need to drive places. And so that's still seen as a central hub of the city.
I see Jennifer shaking her head. Apparently she must be from that area. That's why.
Jennifer, I think she actually lives very close near there, or used to live very close by there.
Yeah, I was in Studio City for 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the Sherman Oaks area, Studio City, I know very, very well.
Is it more of a transitory type environment, being Studio City and Sherman Oaks, or is it a lot of homes out there?
Homes.
Homes?
Homes south of the boulevard, some of the most desirable homes in all of LA are there. Actually, even George Clooney has a super complex that's like a private park up there. And then if you go north, you see a more high density kind of living.
Got it.
Yeah. So here, this K right here that you can all see, that is actually the secret to why the real estate market is still doing well while unemployment is skyrocketing. Right here, this is the secret. Because professionals, they've pretty much overall figured it out, right? We're Zooming. We don't necessarily have to have a lot of contact with people. And, you know, blue collar workers and below that have more of a high contact requirement, they're not doing so well. So, but those are people that tend to be in the rental markets, which is why you see the rental markets going down. And the professionals and white collar tend to be the owners and the buyers of the properties. That's why you see that side going up. So that's a very quick, simplified version, but that is definitely an important thing to understand about our market. There is an election coming up, and what you'll see is between now and then, probably a small drop, and then a quick increase right after the election. And that's pretty normal. That's a pretty standard thing. You're actually seeing a smaller drop than normal because you're seeing houses that are under 700 not drop while there's just a slowdown in the rest of the market. So, Joe, do you have a question about that with that beautiful house behind you? You are still muted. Oh, there we go.
No, I don't. Yeah, I just unmuted. No, I don't. That seems clear.
Great. Yeah, because I know you're very involved with the housing market as well. So I figured,
Yeah,
you know.
on the design end. So, you know, I'm not somebody who's actively seeking to buy and sell, but I'm more or less a tool for people who are need design work, essentially.
Absolutely. Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So switching gears a little bit, I want to introduce someone who has built some very interesting structures, and not physical structures, but business structures around housing, and also creates a unique living option for a lot of people here in LA, and that's Jennifer.
You know, I do know Jennifer now. Jennifer is Deepak's girlfriend.
That's right. That's right. So
okay, I met
you know
Jennifer
Deepak.
before. All right. I knew you looked familiar. I go, I know this Jennifer from somewhere. Okay. Yep. Deepak's girl.
Yep.
Or Deepak is your guy.
Both.
Yeah, that's the way to put it.
Yeah, so, I've been living in Studio City, and for a long time I was looking for something, you know, I always worked from home and, you know, for many, many years. And I realized that I wanted more around me that kind of like kept work at home, and like wanted to eventually kind of like live with other people who work from home. I'm part of the rental market, I guess you would call it right now. And what I ended up creating was I got a really great opportunity a few years ago to rent out kind of a mansion in the Hollywood Hills, actually like south of the Boulevard in Studio City. And what I did was I kind of had this vision of, you know, what I wanted a lifestyle to look like. And over the past 3 years, I created what's kind of like an entrepreneur commune in there. We've had it's for nomads, people who work from home, who are self-made, creative types, entrepreneurs, and really good work ethic. There's a lot of things that I look for people coming into that house. And over the past few years, we've had over 50 people who have come in and out. And when they take off or something, it's like they're exploding. They're going somewhere else. They're going to like Bali. Sometimes people come back. And one of the awesome things is that during COVID, we found ourselves having to stay at home, and we were like, thank God we have people that we like love, like family. And when we couldn't go anywhere, we started doing things and working together much closer, like much more closely. And I've been leading the house, so I started I had already put people in the house that I already thought were going to work well with others. So there's a whole thing that I have for who gets to come into the house. And so we had meetings, and we started doing regular meetings, and every single person survived and thrived through COVID. And we've all been working on big projects, and it's been really amazing. And one thing that I noticed was that there was actually a really big demand for people wanting to come into it. I still have a list of people waiting to come into that house, which is amazing. I realized that I had created something that was desirable, that worked, and that people absolutely want to stay in. Nobody wants to leave, and anybody who leaves wants to come back. And I was like, okay, I think there's something really cool here. So, I've been working on that, and then now I was thinking, like, how do I take this to the next level? So, after a lot of getting in tune with like what I really felt was the biggest value here, I'm now working on a new platform to connect people like this to work with either homeowners or people who want to lead these homes, teaching them how to lead homes, and basically change the way that we think about having roommates or living with others, instead of like roommates that live together but cross each other and never talk. I checked in with a lot of people. COVID hit, I was on phone calls every hour of the day talking to people. What are you doing? What's going on for you? And a lot of people were living by themselves, or realized they didn't know their roommate, or realized they live with somebody they don't like. And I was like, okay, like, how can we make this better? How can we change this, or how can we improve this? And so basically I'm working on a new platform to be able to change people's ways, improve people's ways, or evolve people's perceptions about living together in homes with others, and create whatever kind of home you want. For mine, it was an entrepreneur commune, I call it, and for others it could be something different, whatever they value. So I'm working on a new platform, expecting to launch after all the betas and everything, end of the year.
Haven't you already built a community as well to kind of with that helped you design your platform? But what is that about? Yeah.
So if anybody knows or is familiar with the Facebook group called LA Conscious Community Housing, anybody in there? There's like 9,500 people in it. I moderate that group pretty well. It's made of a lot of people who know people, in there I've been sourcing a lot of the people that have been coming in, that random friends of friends and stuff like that. But that's been a huge help. That group actually was the first one of groups that have actually had kind of like copycats, but it's no big deal. Like, they just copied the exact way that the group works. We have certain ways of communicating. And now that group exists with other leaders in San Diego, San Francisco, Oregon, and I know there's one in Hawaii, Maui, and I forgot where else. And
sorry, go ahead.
They're fully working in those areas, and people are doing the same kind of thing, except for I think my house was a really big type of experiment. But I think a lot of people there's some people who are doing this like conscious living thing, and then there's some people who are looking for somebody cool to hang out like in that and like move in.
And so you've built a community with over 10,000 active users.
9,500
around
yeah.
housing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I rounded up. Okay.
Yeah.
9,500. That's still a lot of active people,
Still
right?
growing.
And then, and what's the basis of it? Just to find community housing of like-minded people?
Yeah, the idea is that it creates a like a circle of trust in a way, because the people who came in there have something to relate to with another group member, whether it's through a friend, or basically you have to know somebody in the group to come into the group. Now that it's expanded so much, there's a lot of people, you know, I get requests with people who already have 16 friends in the group. So those people, I just, you know, bring them in and I moderate and I make sure to, you know, if anybody has something bad to say or something, like I keep an ear out, like what's going on with the person or something. But mostly there's been like almost no problems. And then it's really, it's also the way that it's set up. It's so clear. You go in and there's a format for how to post your place or say that you're looking for a place. And there's no spam, there's no, you know, memes, there's no political things, there's no religion, like everything. It's just that. And so when you scroll, it's very easy to find what you're looking for.
So are they all house hacks, or are they like, it's a combination? Is it some like room rentals? Like what is it? What's the breakdown?
Yeah, so there's a few houses, and I've connected with the leaders of them that do something similar to mine. Some of them focus more on being artists and like creativity and colors everywhere and having events and podcasts and, you know, all that stuff in-house. So there's all skilled type people. Some homes are more about, you know, we want to live in a home that is very peaceful and beautiful, shoes off, vegetarian, you know, there's a lot of that kind of stuff. There's other houses where people like to go on hikes together. And then there's some where it's like 3 people who just live in like a house secluded in the middle of woodland hills, like up in the trees. They just want peace. Maybe they work from home, like just, there's all kinds of houses. So some rooms and some that are, I mean, doing quite experimental things in co-living.
So if somebody wanted to, let's just say somebody had a house and they wanted to create one of these, what would the process look like?
Yeah, so if I want to work actually more with the owners of houses. Basically, they would be working with somebody that would, you know, depending on how it's going to be led, there's all leaders and everyone who, you know, has a house, everyone's an equal in the leadership of the house, or you have one leader who basically has the vision and sets the house, you know, together. So they'd be working with that person. When it comes to, you know, you want to be, I think you want to like know the owner, because they're going to want to know that there's a lot of people in the house, why there's a lot of people, what kind of, you know, businesses are being run or what kind of work they're doing. Yeah, I would recommend that they would work directly with the leader of the house. That's what I've been doing. I've been very close with the owner of my house. I've been very honest. I told him exactly what I was doing. He's like, so cool and so casual. He's like, okay, cool. And like, no worries, do whatever you want. And my whole thing is like, I like to keep all the wood in good shape, the walls in good condition, everything. So everything's super clean and super well taken care of. And, you know, I let the owner know. So he's been like, all right, cool. So long as you take care of my investment, I'm good with it.
Got it. Okay. Have you had any negative experiences with owners, or so far it's been pretty good?
Not me. No, so far it's been all good. I wouldn't get into something where I could potentially have a problem with an owner, because it's not just me living there, it's other people. So if I got us into something that later a year down, I said, oh man, I knew they were crazy, but I didn't know they were this, you know, I wouldn't even want to, you know, get into that. So I
knew they were crazy, but they weren't my kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. So I do a lot of short-term rentals as well, and I work with the owners of the homes. So do you know, if somebody goes to live at one of your homes for 2 months, do you take a deposit? Like, what do you do to ensure that they're not gonna, you know, bust holes in the walls or damage anything?
So are you talking about renting one room individually at a time to different kinds of people? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So for that, I would take a deposit. And I also take utilities, 1 month of utilities in advance. And that's because in LA, you have the LADWP bill, which I think everybody gets. It's every other month. And so I found that people like to pay what they owed and not what the person before them owed.
Yes.
They like the clarity of that. So I let them know that I'm taking it in advance and then I return them that part later after
Okay.
I've done the numbers, and then I'm always very clear about the numbers. I, write them all out,
Mhm.
divide by 7. My house has 7 people, divide by 7, everybody gets their number and it's very clear. So I take 2 different kinds of deposits.
Okay. Nice. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Actually, I also think it's a really great opportunity for the Airbnb people for many reasons. LA has been like shutting them down, Santa Monica, a lot of places you can't do them, half the year now. You have to get all these permits, And now you have all these places that are furnished rentals. You can charge more for them. I think there's a huge opportunity for every Airbnb owner right now to be getting all these nomads. It's also a weird time because people don't have money and they don't have, a lot of them don't have work. So the trust part of, are you going to come in and actually pay? That's really tricky.
Absolutely. I wouldn't want to be have a vacancy right now. It's a scary place to be.
Yeah.
Ethan, it looked like you had a question. I can see it on your face. And is that a disco ball behind you? What's going on over there?
Yeah, it's my disco ball, man.
Right. Of course. Everybody's got
It's my
one. Yeah.
place.
He's got a pretty solid place. If you see his place, there's not enough disco balls. It's like the cowbell, right? You need disco balls.
It's a very small part of my place.
Looks like you're living in
yeah.
the rainbow room. Looks amazing.
It's a penthouse. Actually, this was a speakeasy of the building in the 30s. So house space, got painted ceilings, so it's really cool. I did have a question, but I think I'd answer for myself. But I also want to know where the Facebook group was, because I may have some postings I could share with people.
Yeah, it's called LA Conscious Community Housing.
Yeah, I found someone posted, so I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much, Jennifer. That's so exciting and fun and interesting. And, I wanted to have you on because it's an interesting way, different way that people use their houses and live, and different ways owners could leverage their house as well. And, have actually, in a way, less risk because you have 5 people paying instead of 1. So if 1 stops paying, you still have 4/5 of your income, or, however it works out. So very cool. Lauren, are you able to turn on your video, or are you indisposed?
So I'm actually previewing a home right now. I can turn on my video.
No problem. We can come back to you if you'd like.
To you guys, but yeah, perfect. So I'll be done here in 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. Sounds great.
Perfect.
Okay. So, guys, we have some very, very cool people on with us today. Chris, I heard that you had an amazing project, one you're working on now, but one also you've done before that had something to do with a gas station.
I don't know which one of these devices you're going to hear me on.
Well, we hear you right now, even though you look muted. We can hear you, so you're good.
Because I'm sitting in my office here, and I've got my iPad going and my big computer, and I'm on my cell phone is what I think you're hearing me on, because I can't get the iPad to hear it. So I'm going to just leave it up so you got 2 of me somewhere on there. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, there we go. You in multiple angles. I like it.
Yeah. And so anyway, yeah, Ken and I, we go way back. Ken, God, how many years has it been? We've been...
Yeah, I met you through actually Ryan Coltman when he took me over to your place, to LA Center Studios. That's where Ryan hooked us up. And I've always been insanely impressed with what you're doing. How's the studio doing? Has COVID really killed it?
We on the office rental, yeah, we're down quite a bit from last year's numbers. The studios themselves are in very high demand. Shows are out there working again. The protocols and the security on it has just been like I've never seen it before. But they're finding their way through it. They're working. We've got a Disney show out there now. Netflix is out there now. We've got
Well, everyone's got to understand real quick. So LA Center Studios is an anomaly. It's such a rarity because when you go through all the studios that are happening in the Valley, or if you go to Culver City, it's a studio. You see where the studios, where LA Center Studios is the center of downtown. And it's unbelievable because so many shows from 24 to The Abyss were filmed there. I mean, it's got a huge inventory of all kinds of great stuff. And it's, again, a very unique anomaly because you drive past it all the time when you're on the 110 and you go, what is that? It looks familiar. It's because so many shows have been filmed there. Am I right, Chris?
Yeah, it's you know, we've been at it for about 21 years now. And unlike what we were just talking, or what we just were listening to about getting like-minded people to come together, we did that with the entertainment industry because the studio, you know, here, actually, this will give me an opportunity to actually walk.
Chris, you have two different views going on, buddy. You know.
Yeah, he sure does. It's because he's so important. He wants, you know, us to see him in multiple angles.
Can you still hear me? Here, watch this.
Yeah,
This is,
we can hear you.
how do I turn it around here? Can I turn it around?
Hey, Chris, is the Pension of Minnesota still a major equity owner?
It's the Ohio PERS. Yeah,
Ohio, that's right. The Ohio Pension Fund.
Let me see. I can turn it around here, I think. Let me
You
see.
have to remember this, 2000.
So this is here. I'm going to do a little flyby on the studio here from our model. This is the Unical building. Back in 1958, this was built, and it sits on the 110 freeway right here. Right about there is the 110, and then this is the Board of Education, and we added these 6 sound stages right here. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Explain some of the shows that have been shot back there, Chris.
Oh, well, here's the Terminator's jacket right here. And this is a little more aerial view of the whole thing. We've done everything from Charlie's Angels back in the day, Mission Impossible.
Top Gun just left. Top Gun was there.
I know
Yeah,
that
Top Gun was back. Top Gun was back. We actually, it's funny, when I was in New York City studying on Broadway, I worked through the Gage Group, and we worked with a lot of the Dream Girls, and then thought it was pretty funny because we finally, you know, full circle Dream Girls here too. And we've done tons of Disney. Let's see, Glow was here recently. Let's see, what else is here? I mean, it's probably, we've done over 5,000 shows, and we touch about every show that comes through LA.
HBO's done a lot of shows there also.
This is my favorite. This is Ken's favorite poster here.
I can't see it.
That?
What is that?
It's one of the original posters from Apocalypse Now.
Oh, I do remember that. Yep.
Yeah.
So we also did the metal movie-thon. We did a whole movie thing there. It was pretty cool. We showed all these great movies. Just want to say, everyone, it's a unique experience. If you have not seen LA Center Studios, I don't know if you're doing tours anymore, Chris, but when you start them up again, you got to go see it. Like I said, it's a unique phenomenon. The middle of downtown is this massive studio that most people don't even realize is there. It's beautiful.
Chris, how did
20 acres, and it was originally going to be a city next to the city, and that project failed in the late 80s, and then it became it was a candidate to put the Staples Center there. Then that failed in 96. By 97, we put together a you know, an opportunity to go to the ownership and buy it, and we were, well, I believed in downtown in 97, but there were people that said the value of downtown would not come back in our lifetime, and I was completely like, it doesn't matter. For filming, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great project. Let's go for it. And so we went out there, and I think it was too stupid to know I couldn't do it, and I just went forward. And actually, Sean, who's on here, he helped me finish out some of the last part of the investment to get it over the hump to then find our partners up in San Francisco, which was Ohio PERS. And they've been great partners. Unfortunately, one of the guys that we pitched right across the freeway here at the Union Bank building, up on the 28th floor looking down on the project. He passed away last year. His name was Jim Curtis, huge real estate guy. Very, a real visionary in everything he's done in his career. So we miss him, and his partner's still working with us on it. But, you know, who knows? Because of those things that are happening, we may be at a new, you know, crossroads for the studio sometime soon, and we'll see what happens. But
Chris, let me just ask a quick question before we dive into our next guest. Hey, so we've seen this whole change of what's going on with DTLA, just overall LA. Matter of fact, I'm not sure if you know this, Chris, but I'm leaving California. I'm leaving the United States for the next year and a half.
Pack up the studio and go with you? I would.
Yeah. No, that's what I know you would. I'm going to go to Bali and all these other great places, right? But the question is, and I know Z, I thought I saw Z who was here, but downtown LA has really, really changed. It's degraded in a lot of ways. And with the homeless situations, with certain regulations that have popped up, have you seen less commitment from organizations saying you're going to be in California, or is it just the business as usual?
No, I think that, you know, it really breaks my heart too, because as I drive around in downtown right now, it's more the same. I mean, look, we were so excited to see a good restaurant like Bodega Louie's come in town here, and went by there the other day and it was all boarded up. And
yeah, they're closed for good.
They're good for good, huh?
Yeah, for good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. And it was a great restaurant to have here. There were many great restaurants, and some are still struggling and trying to keep themselves in business and going down here. But it was one of the things that was really, you know, happening for LA was we were getting, you know, known for a lot of great restaurants, and the projects were just, you know, coming out of the ground. And I think we've been, you know, until this COVID thing is over, we're totally like set back several years. You know, it's totally rolled back. So.
Well, I talked to Dr. Heller and a bunch of the other guys that are doing the vaccines, and there's been some setbacks on both the Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. It looks like we're not ready now until probably real vaccination time till May, which means is we'll probably have some dips. So we're looking at 2022 now, which really, really sucks for a real vaccine to be implemented, which really sucks. So be aware of that, guys.
Well, I spent part of my September locked up with it. I got it from my daughter at USC, and it was a pretty bad flu. So yeah. I didn't get all the special care. I had just everything over the counter.
But be honest, Chris, you lost all your hair. He had a giant head of hair. It's gone.
I did, and I lost about 10 pounds. So,
hair.
Honestly, you
don't want to get this because you don't want to lose your hair, Jennifer. So be careful.
You don't want to lose your hair. Don't get COVID. It's a hair killer. Hair killer.
All right, Nathaniel, where do you want to take us today?
Well, real quick, going off that, I wanted to mention I was at the expo this week. That's all the top economists in real estate, and basically the consensus is if there isn't another lockdown, real estate will be slowly increasing. It won't be increasing as fast, but it will be going up. If there's a lot more problems with COVID, and if there is another lockdown, you'll probably see about a 6% drop temporarily across the board, across the country. So that's just something good to keep an eye on, because there will probably be a lot more long-term unemployment than we're looking at right now. So just as a little side note, Chris, I have one other question. You're working on a project now. How do you choose the location of it?
Well, I live in Coronado, so it's directly across. It's across the bridge. So I spotted this area and was keeping an eye on it. Then Russell, who's in here too, he actually brought me a project down there, because I come up to the studio about 3 days a week. I actually stay here on set. I've taken and made a dressing room into an apartment, and it's got a shower and a bathroom, the whole thing. So it's actually really comfortable. Mm-hmm. So I come up, spend a few days here with the studio, and then I go back there. And during the lockup, I wasn't coming up at all. And so I was looking for other things that, I could do. So I took and started talking to Russell, and he said, hey, I got this project I'm going to put together with shipping containers and create like 20 some units, 22 units on this one lot. And I went, well, that sounds really interesting to me because, you know, there's a lot of land and to be able to then provide housing quickly. And it was also another green project. And for a lot of reasons, I was gravitating towards it. And I told him, I said, you know, let's check this out and see what we can do about getting this thing going. And so that one thing led to another. And now we're in escrow on a property and we're going to move forward. And I'm not sure we're using the shipping containers. They're having some issues with that from the company, but we're going to, you know, do something equally as green, hopefully, but just, I don't know. And you know what? I don't know that I'll go and get a certification because it's not worth the money, you know, to pay for it, but I'll do the things that make it right. And so Russell is in there somewhere with us tonight, I think.
Russell, what's the biggest challenge you've hit during that project?
Dealing with the city is tough. They're just slow, especially with the COVID stuff. And I bet everyone is having trouble with all their projects, getting through entitlements and stuff. But that's been probably the biggest issue. And then getting money for the entitlements, that kind of stuff. Having investors come in at the entitlement phase is a little tougher.
Right. Have you had a lot of people weary because of COVID? Is it so it's a multi-unit building? Or
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yep. And then people are a little wary. So that's, you know, some of the investors we usually turn to have pulled back a little bit. And, you know, it's just everyone's kind of uncertain and scared and don't know what's going to happen. So it's just a weird time.
The one thing you can count on is that housing is going to absolutely have to, affordable housing that is not ridiculous. And, you know, being with the location, I love the location because we have the Navy base just across the bridge. And this is a perfect solution because Coronado is way too expensive for some of the guys that just are enlisted, you know, in the program there. And to be that close to the base is really nice and convenient. So it's 5 minutes from their work.
Yeah,
well, I look forward. What's that?
We designed this for pretty cheap rents for studios, and it's a mile east of downtown, so young professionals, and then half a mile from the Navy base and the Coronado Bridge, so, you know, Navy personnel and government contractors. This is a perfect location for them.
Absolutely. That sounds like a good plan because, you know, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So well done on choosing. We look forward to following your project as it progresses. And for now, that is a great start. So I want to watch it from beginning to end. And we want to hear about your challenges as you move forwards. And then without further ado, Lauren.
Chris, get your ass back to metal, will you please?
Oh yeah, what are you doing?
Saturday mornings is just hard for me, but this is easy. I could do
It's
that.
online. Come on. What do you mean?
It's online. You don't have to go anywhere, Chris.
I know.
You don't even have to wear pants.
You know what? The good news is now I probably could get back into it because there's been no sports for my kids.
Chris, just say yes.
Hey, Ken, I've been yelling at him for weeks now.
Chris, just say yes and stop jerking around, okay? You're missing out.
You got it.
All right, that's all I needed to hear. Sorry about that, Nathaniel.
No problem. No, I fully agree. Chris, I didn't know you weren't coming to metal, but dude, you don't even have to wear pants. Come on.
I used to go to when it was
I don't like used to. I hate used tos, okay?
Yeah, but now you can talk about it in the present. Well, I'll be there Saturday, right?
There you go.
So we'll see you Saturday, Chris?
Can I exercise, Jay? Yeah.
You can exercise during, put your headphones in, you're fine. You're good.
Yeah.
Half the guys are on bikes anyway, you're golden. Okay, so Lauren, where are you? Tell us about where you're at. Thanks for joining us. I know you're super busy out there.
So I am in the Palm Springs area, and it's just insane right now. Like, it's literally crazy. I'm running around all day long, living out of my car, basically. I feel like everyone's moving here. And lots of people from San Francisco, LA, Seattle, East Coast, kind of just everywhere. But, you know, they're looking for more affordable deals and bigger yards and pools. So this is the best place to do it. So it's been crazy.
So is it mainly old? It's old people, right? Mainly older people moving there?
Yes-ish, like it is, but now in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of younger people moving here because it's way more affordable than LA and all the other cities that are really fun that they want to be in, but it's just you can't buy a home out there, and it's hard to save unless you're making lots of money, which not a lot of them are. So they move out here, get a job, and they're able to buy a home. And it's just more affordable. So but definitely the age is, it's been a
Is it
lot of
trending
younger
down?
kids.
Would you say
Yeah.
the ages they're trending down a little bit?
I would say, yeah. But you also get a lot of snowbirds because this is a seasonal place. So tons of Canadians, but we can't, no Canadians right now because of Corona.
Right.
But it's usually everyone from Seattle, and Canada are like the two main places, and then LA. So yeah, right now it's a lot of younger people buying because now they can.
So you guys see a trend down in age living out
Yeah.
there in the desert. I know that recently there's a lot of communities of younger people who have been moving out to the desert and creating like little pods out there.
Yeah, and especially because we have Coachella, everything, people, know the city a lot more, and, they're like, oh yeah, we go there for Coachella. So a lot of people are more familiar with it now, and, they want to live here now.
Right, absolutely. Well, like, do you see more high-end homes or more things that Ethan's interested in, like, container homes and living out in the desert, like, eco living, that sort of thing? What is? Yeah,
there's definitely a lot of that eco living in Joshua Tree and Yucca Valley because there's so much land up there. Out here, you don't see it at all, and I don't think you will because it tends to be a higher price point in like Palm Springs, La Quinta, Palm Desert. Lots of luxury homes because we've got a ton of country clubs where, minimum like $1 million homes. Even condos go for like $1 million in some of the country clubs. So it's definitely at a higher price point. But I really like the eco housing and those containers, and they're definitely doing a lot up in Joshua Tree and Yucca Valley.
So where would you say the value is if somebody was like, I want to move out there and have a big upswing in value? What would the area they move to be? Would it be Palm Springs? Would it be Yucca Valley?
It would. Well, so Yucca's the prices are pretty high right now as well because it's been so popular. And a lot of people from LA, it's only like, I think, an hour to an hour and a half. So a lot of people buy places out there, and then you can do short-term rentals for Airbnb. So they do that a lot and make money when they're not there. But Palm Springs is just I think it's already peaked, and it keeps going, and I don't think it's ever going to go down. So I don't think if you wanted to, get a return of investment, you would buy in Palm Springs. It would either be Palm Desert or La Quinta. La Quinta's, everywhere is high right now just because we are completely low inventory, historically low. But there's still some good buys like in La Quinta or Palm Desert.
Got it. Okay. And Jennifer, do you have any houses out there?
Houses in the group, you mean?
Yeah.
This one's specifically for LA, but my platform will have all of them, all the cities.
Got it. Okay, great. Ethan, what's you had something? You have a friend who's doing a project out in her area?
Joshua Tree. Yeah, he just got like first round funding. They're doing 40 container units it's a hotel. The 40
That's amazing.
unit hotel.
That's going to be,
Joshua Tree.
Yeah, it's going to be really popular.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that one of the example ones. Beautiful. One container is a full contained unit that's like a room with a little kitchen, and it was really cool. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Now, Lauren, Ethan is looking at properties to buy to put containers on. So he should be looking more in the Joshua Tree area if he's looking out in your area. I know he's looking more in like the Lancaster, Palmdale, closer LA area. But so maybe that's another option for you.
Yeah, I would definitely look up there because right now it's just crazy. My friend is building a house up in Joshua Tree, and it's a nice home. It's going to be mid-century modern, and with pool and spa. And he's already gotten people just walking on the property saying, I will buy this for $1 million.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
Demand's high out there.
it's a great, it's a great, you know, investment out there right now, because I think it's still growing and everything.
Brandon.
And there's a lot of land.
That sounds like a lot of land, yeah.
There's a lot of land.
And so what is it basing around? Is it city centers? Is it the highways? What, you know, what's the attraction to build? Like what are they building around for the most part?
Well, I guess it would be Joshua Tree National Park, because there's really not, the city's like whatever, and there's not a whole lot up there. It's starting to become more popular with, you know, some cooler restaurants popping up and coffee places and whatnot, and shops, but it's very tiny, very tiny. If you were to go on a holiday weekend, you would wait like 4 hours at a restaurant to sit down. It's crazy.
Wow. Got it.
Yeah.
So it's busy and there's a lot of growth opportunities.
Yeah.
Brandon, when you circled the country, did you stop in the Palm Springs area at all?
Sadly, no. I did. I went through the Midwest, did Des Moines, and then Iowa, and then went through Denver, Vegas, and Omaha, and then LA, and then I went to Arizona, and then back up.
Well, see, when you come back, you have a new place you still can go.
Yeah. What part is it? Palm Springs?
Palm Springs, or you can go to Joshua Tree, Yucca Valley area.
Well, I'm doing my next trip in 4 weeks, so maybe I'll go that way.
Yeah, definitely. It's
Lauren
go to
can show you
Joshua Tree
all
National Park.
Yeah, Lauren can show you all the cool spots, not just the park, but everywhere. Anything cool, she knows it out there. So
Lots of
you're good to
food.
go. Russell, did you have a question?
I was just asking Ethan what company his friend was using for the containers.
I'm not sure. Well, it's a Lebanese company as far as I know. He didn't give me the exact name, but their Home Depot is now sponsoring the build outs. So they're giving them a lot of material. Yeah, they just got that too. It's good, but it's going to have advertising all over the Home Depot kind of thing.
Cool.
Okay.
Jeff, I know you have, you travel a lot. Do you ever travel out to the desert? Do you like the hot? Or maybe in the snowbird time, you like when it's cool out there? I know you like to travel around different places, you and your lovely wife. Jeff, you are still muted.
Oh, you mean me, Jeffrey?
Yes, Jeffrey.
Yes. Well, no, we rarely go down to Palm Springs area. Rarely go down there. Visit some friends sometimes who have places, but I'm not really a desert person in general.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room, okay? And that is, again, going back to California itself. And that is, if we see these exorbitant taxes go up, especially the proposed up to 20%, making over $400,000, why does anyone of medium wealth or high net worth want to consider staying in California with that type of premium? 20% going, if you make $1 million, you're spending $200,000 on potential taxes. Why stay in the state? I'm totally lost on this.
Lauren, you have any ideas?
Because California is great.
I
honestly, it's really hard because I have a lot of clients that are either deciding between here or Arizona or Florida. And obviously they have a lot better, you know, tax rates. So if you're looking at that, you know, that way, it's a no-brainer. You're not going to stay in California, nor if our taxes, you know, increase at all. But I mean, California's got great weather.
I know, but that only goes, I've been here 20 years and I'm leaving because of all this.
Yeah, but look at Hawaii. Hawaii is more expensive and people are flocking there. They can't get there fast enough because lifestyle. I mean, look,
it's a different lifestyle. The homeless situation is primarily on Oahu. Maui doesn't have a homeless issue. Big Island it's dismal. There's nothing there. It's getting worse, Nathaniel. And again, I'm not trying to poo-poo it. It may be great in Calabasas, but what's happening in Calabasas is not Venice.
Well, no, Venice, Venice, you know, the interesting thing about Venice is even there, the urban housing like the high density housing is still highly in demand for rentals and for purchases.
But I
People
want you-
can't get there fast enough, but it's
Nathaniel.
a lot of international, a lot of
I get it.
people.
But you got a staple like Shaheen. Shaheen's been here almost all his life. I mean, once he came in from Iran, he's been here all his life, and he's ready to go. High net worth individual.
Shaheen, where are you going to go?
Ready, not this country anymore. This country, terrible. My friend, I don't know, guys. I mean, look, so you know the encampment on Rose, they cleaned it up. They
Right.
came with the big dump trucks, but I think somebody found a loophole where they said, like, if we do tree trimming, we can come and kick out the homeless people. We got to give them like a coupon for a one-night motel stay. And they gave them a coupon, and they dumped all their stuff. So they cleared up that whole, you know, on the other side of Penmar, that golf course. So that
Right.
gave me some hope today. But I'm with Ken, you know. I don't see the government here changing things. So, but then that's the big question. Where do we go? If you're in entertainment, there's nowhere else to go. Look, the three areas, and Ken, I strongly feel that you need to have a footing in one of three places, Los Angeles, New York, or Miami, in order for a network to happen. Now, you're going on a grand experiment, and I'm very excited to see what's going to happen as you physically leave these big zones and kind of go virtual presence into these. But I think for a lot of other people who may not be as well connected as you are, there really is an advantage to having being centered in a place like Los Angeles, Miami, New York.
I agree with what you're saying. By the way, Chris, you wanted to jump in there. Go for it, Chris.
There's a couple things. You know, we had a problem, I don't know, several years ago with the homeless right outside the studio. And it kind of got solved on its own only because then people wanted to film on the streets out there, and the city finally came in and helped clean it up. But before that happened, we went out there and we offered all the people, and there was probably 3 blocks of people camped outside the studio. And it was a mess, and it was starting to smell, and it was really starting to affect the business. But we went out there and offered everybody that was living there a coupon and money and everything else to move and to go take the services that were available. Nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted to go there because they all would have to get clean. They weren't interested in that. And then we found out that inside that group, there was a mayor. There was one person that was then charging all those people to then be protected inside that area. And so they all counted on him, and they were paying him to stay there, and they were going with whatever he said. And it was until the day the dump trucks came and basically took probably three like big dumpsters of garbage off the street, and then it never returned. And so we finally, you know, thank God it kind of got away from this area. But the other thing, Ken, to the second point, you know, we bought this building back in 1987. And if you take the value of what the studio has created here on 20 acres and add this Prop 15 to it, where we get the protections of Proposition, or 13, Prop 13 gets repelled on all the commercial properties, we're screwed. Our clients are screwed. Totally. You know, everybody owns apartment buildings. They're going to then raise the rents. Those people are going to end up homeless. The gas station on the corner that's worth more than $3 million, they're going to raise the gas prices even more to pay for their taxes. It's a complete cluster. You know what? But it's people better be voting no on 15, because that is taken and just eliminate all the protections. Yep. We're going to go from very few taxes, because we bought this very cheap, to a lot. And we're not the only ones.
This is a conversation, you know, Jennifer and Lauren, I mean, guys are doing great stuff, but there are some challenges, and that is the state itself. The state itself is a roadblock. And homeless people, I don't know what they contribute to society, but I don't know why we do so many changes around them, and it affects so many of us. And that's another conversation. Nathaniel,
I think there's going to be some other changes after the election as well, regarding homeless and regarding a lot of the city's special instructions for the homeless, and you know, right now, basically, there's a free pass because LA doesn't have enough resources or beds to put them in. So if you remove someone without a sanitation or a city service like the tree trimming or a health department violation, they can actually sue the city because there's more homeless people than there are.
I get it. I heard Coronado is really nice for homeless people. That's what I heard. So,
in my area, and we don't have homeless people.
because it's 150 degrees.
I know, but
Easy.
that's why people like it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's why Anchorage, Alaska doesn't really have homeless.
Exactly.
Below zero.
Well, if you guys notice, if you go into the valley, you drive down the 101, when you hit Calabasas, there aren't any homeless people anymore.
Right. And
because Calabasas is an incorporated city and they removed them.
That's right. The city planner was great. Hey, Nathaniel, let's wrap it up.
All right, guys, everybody, thank you. This is another First Mover. I believe this is the 10th episode. So you're all experiencing something very special today. And I will see you all next week. We have an amazing person from Denver and some other great surprises. Shaheen, I know you'll be there.
Hey, by the way, if you're in town, the Wisdom Tree is the hike on Sunday. Wisdom Tree hike on Sunday. So join us with the Wisdom Tree hike. Sorry, Lauren, it's in LA. All right.
She's here a lot. Don't worry, she can come visit.
All right, everyone. Talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.
Guys, bye, everybody.
Bye.